Hello, this is Daniel Posney, and this is called Shifting Perspectives. And this is about 10 to 15 minutes of just a particular topic that comes in usually kind of at the last minute. And I usually don't know what's going to be talked about, but um, this is a good one. And I kind of already get nervous talking about it because it's got so much behind it. It's almost on the same level as should I get vaccinated or is COVID a real thing? That was kind of a joke. But am I a shaman? Well, I guess I'll go back to, without actually answering the question right now, I'll go back to when I was a kid and I used to hang out with people which in the 70s, you might have called them stoners. And then I also hung out with people that were in sports and you might have called them jocks. And I used to hang out at the beach and go surfing, go boogie boarding and body surfing. And people would call them surfers. And I never felt comfortable with just being one of those things. So I kind of allowed myself to be all those things. And maybe it's because I didn't want to be just identified with one, that's kind of pigeonholed in one thing. And I guess that's also why maybe I didn't love being called the twins. I'm identical twins, an identical twin. And when people say the twins, the Posney twins, and I kind of wanted my own sovereignty. So I guess amongst the whole world, I wanted to know myself as a sovereign person. So there's that background there. And then it comes to doing the work that I've been doing for about over 15 years. And some of the things, sometimes when I'm working with a client, there's this need for tapping into a non-local consciousness or going deeper into some deeper energies into different realms and tapping into different dimensions, which we all do. It's just in the setting of this, it's called shamanism. It's called some kind of altered state or looking into other dimensions or other realities. I can't say that I go in and grab someone's soul and change that and do that kind of thing. And of course, I'm not really in agreement with that. I don't really believe that I, the person Daniel, can go in and fix something for the person. So I take that off my shoulders. And yet there's this thing that happens energetically that someone goes through a shift. And sometimes I'll be working with someone and there's this epiphany or knowing or intuition that comes in outside of our local minds. And something just needs to be said or something just needs to be done. So there's that part of it. Then when I go into breath work and sound healing, I can do a regular sound healing and it's very beautiful, or I can do a breath work and it's very transformative. But when someone asks for a shamanic breath work or shamanic sound healing, there's something else that gets tapped into there. There's more rattles being played. The things are just there. There's not the beautiful flow that usually happens with the sound healing. There's a little bit of a instead of resonance, there's a little bit of dissonance. When I'm doing the shamanic breath work, something comes out and I allow myself to engage in different forms of expression. I start tapping into different realities and I start seeing more into the person, into what I can describe as maybe it's their soul, but it's maybe it's their higher self. And I really stay away from labeling what it is that I'm seeing or what it is that I'm doing, because I don't really know exactly what's happening until maybe I go beyond this world and I finally figure that one out. But what happens is there's a tapping into another reality, another dimension. And I'm tapped into that because I know that within myself. So when I start feeling the energies of this person, I realize that it's also within me. And there's when we can really do some good work, when I realize that what I'm feeling from them is what I'm feeling from myself. So, yeah, so sometimes people see that and they have some kind of, within them, they have a shamanic experience. And so it's normal for them to say, oh, this guy's a shaman, or, you know, because they had a shamanic experience, that person is a shaman. But I just kind of leave that up in the air, and maybe it serves that person to call me whatever they want. People have called me shaman, angel, asshole, and you know, whatever serves that person. I don't know who said this to me years ago, but they basically said, "I'm whoever you need me to be." I think it was uh, Chuck, my friend Chuck. I think he said, "I'm just whoever that person needs me to be. If they need me to be Christ consciousness, if they need me to be the jerk that told them something, then that's who I am. And if you need to see me as a shaman, I don't have any problem with that, but I don't call myself a shaman. So I don't call myself very much. But if it works for that person, then that's all I really care about. So one of the things that I need to look at when Rebecca Two Moons was invited me to be a part of this Sedona Center for Shamanism, which I'm super, super excited about. I can feel this. I've always wanted to be in integrity. Not all, that hasn't always been true, but now my life is full of integrity. And so I wanted to really look at what I was agreeing to. So I want to ask myself, first of all, what is a shaman? Well, you know, that term has made its changes and its transformations over the years. You know, hundreds or thousands of years ago, it started in the area that we call Russia, and it's kind of propagated throughout Europe and to South America, and really just about every continent on the planet. And it's usually kind of related to a medicine woman or a medicine man, someone that can kind of feel into or see into different realities or dimensions. But everybody does it their own different way. And it's kind of kooky. It's kind of different. It's really usually that person that thinks and acts differently than the tribe. And from that place, because of their expressiveness and their creativity and their imagination, they can tap into things that are beyond the normal realm of understanding, what people normally look into. But everyone, if you dream, you're usually tapping into different realities like that. So if you have lucid dreams or very colorful, detailed dreams, some might call that a form of shamanism, that you're looking into that. Um, so what is a shaman? Really, it's really that person that can look into the other realms and dimensions, whether through feeling or touch or sensing or whatever of those modes. And I guess if I look at myself, then I kind of qualify for that in certain cases. But that's not what I bring to the table all the time. So what I bring to the table is what kind of fits the client, not myself. So there are people out there that will call themselves a shaman, and they bring this, I am a shaman and this is what I do, and it's about them. It's about them expressing themselves as a shaman. And I feel like when I have the greatest flexibility to do what the client needs me to do and what the client needs me to be, sometimes that's a form of shamanism. So I hope I explain that what a shaman is, and when someone does shamanic practices and shamanism. Yeah, it's one of those times that we all who do shamanic practice, we kind of struggle with that. And now I want to speak to the people that get a little triggered when other people call themselves shaman, or when they say that they do shamanic practices. So I'm speaking to you when I say, if you have a trigger about it, it's time to do your work. So if you have judgment about other people expressing themselves and tapping into other dimensions, you're not the only person that can do that. Everyone can do that. So get over yourself, deal with your triggers. You'll be a much better healer if you come out of judgment about other people. So I just want to say that part for those people that have that judgment. When I went to the first meeting of Sedona Center for Shamanism, wow, the people that are there, that Rebecca was called to really bring into as the 12 founding members of this center, which is eventually going to be this huge thing. Man, what great hearts. That's the thing that I've always seen about shaman that I've ever worked with, whether they're from Peru or from North America or wherever. They are the most caring, loving, sweet people, because they've looked into themselves. They looked into their own darkness, and they see themselves and they love themselves there too. And so when they see that in another person, they just come at it with love. And so, we're kind of taught that a shaman is this dark person, well, usually dark skin too. That's another bullshit. But that they're this person that deals in the darkness, and they shake their rattle and they blow the smoke, and that's what they do. But actually, the real shaman that I've ever worked with have been working in love. And that was my experience the other night in this meeting. Was everybody was so humble and so caring and so wanting the best for the group and for the work that we do. And that to me is really what a shaman is. This person that works in these other dimensions, has many different tools at their disposal that they can work with, and they're working with love. So I want to talk a minute about the Sedona Center for Shamanism. What it's looking like is something that you might wonder why this hasn't been created before, especially in a place like Sedona. Like, why hasn't there been some kind of center for shamanism and shamanic practices and people to be in integrity with their healing practice? Wow. So I look at, there's lots of great tour companies and retreat companies, and I work with a couple of them, but to have a center, it's just, I can just feel the power of it, how people are going to come to Sedona specifically to go to the Center for Shamanism. And it just kind of lends, there's so much power and love behind the whole idea. You can just, if you tap into it, you can start to feel the immediate growth that happens just by putting your attention on it. So I kind of took myself into the future and what that might look like. And I completely see an actual brick and mortar center with a really large online presence that people are so thankful to have a place like this to come to online. But then to come to a place that has a great room, that has rooms for personal private sessions, that has an outdoor space, that has a place to do breath work, that has a place to do fire ceremony. And one of the things that Rebecca was talking about is that when you walk into the lobby, there's going to be a round table. And that's the round table that all the 12 founding members of the Sedona Center for Shamanism meet, and they discuss how to make it better and how to improve their practices. So when you walk in, you're going to be greeted with the table that the founding members meet at. And it puts a whole new spin and power on the sacredness and the effectiveness and how we can really improve that whole realm. Let's see, is there anything else I want to share about this? I guess maybe the next question might be, how did I get into this? How did I get into shamanic practice? And I have to go back to down to my childhood, that I was always intrigued with plants and animals, and speaking to those plants and animals, and having a greater awareness and consciousness about where I was and what I was doing, and kind of set myself in a place that can understand in a deeper meaning than the collective could. I didn't know how that was going to happen, but what that led me into was exploring my darkness and exploring my shadows. And when I first started to kind of, get on that train, I started to have lots of lucid dreams and really kind of dark, like big ravens on my bed, and the covers being pulled off my body, and my body feeling like it was levitating in the room. And there was a lot of that darkness at first. And I know now that it was those experiences that definitely scared me, but has put me in a place now that not too much frightens me anymore. And I've had some really intense, uh, entity stuff and dark energies and that kind of stuff. But where I come from is, I guess, from a shamanic place. Is I know I'm the light, and it's not coming from a religious place. It's coming from just a knowing that I am that darkness and I am that light. And so, what that kind of leads me to this other understanding, is that when there's a shamanic understanding of something, you accept and embrace all of it. So when I'm working with someone, um, if the person is ready for this kind of perspective, I introduce the idea that they've been all of it. And so for me, the shamanic perspective is looking at the whole thing. Like if you were to look through God's eyes, what you would see. And you would see that person is one of many, many people, one of many, many iterations of that person, of that soul. And so that shamanic perspective is looking at that, and really, it really is just really seeing the truth of things without judgment, without need to lean this way or to need to lean that way. It's whatever way is the truth. So I think that's it. I think that kind of sums up where I come from when I'm doing counseling or coaching or mentoring work, is that, whether right away or sometime, as the person is ready for it, I introduce this, what feels like a radical truth. Like, what is the most radical truth that we can get to? Think about that. Like, what is the most radical truth that you're resistant to? Could it be that you're all of it? Could it be that you've been that person that you're so upset with? Could it be that you've been the murderer, the rapist, all those, that kind of thing, that really, the thing that kind of stirs me up, and my egoic self goes, no, 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 I can't be that. But the shamanic perspective is, yes, you are. And it's time to forgive yourself. It's time to love yourself because of all of it. Because all those things that we judge about other people are different aspects of us. So it really is kind of a, wow, how high can we take this? How high into love can we take this? To me, that's a shaman. That's a shamanic perspective. So I hope this stirred things up a little bit and gave you maybe a little bit of clarity, and maybe that you would understand what it is to be a shaman the same way that you uniquely understand God, or your version of that word, your version of what that means. So there's this thing on, I think it's on Netflix or something, with Nicolas Cage, and Nicolas Cage is going through all the curse words and where their history, what their history is and where they came from, dick and pussy and damn and all that stuff. And they have these innocent beginnings, and then they were transformed into something. And we've done that to so many different words, all these words that are in the Navy and in being a sailor, and where do they come from? And I feel like, shaman or shamanism is going through its own transformation, that the way of the shaman before, it needs to be modernized. And that's kind of what's happening. And there's a little bit of a resistance or struggle to hold on to this old way that even a shaman or an indigenous person that has a conscious heart would admit and agree, yeah, we need to change this, because we need more people to tap into their own shamanic nature. So I guess I'll just leave you with that, and I hope you have a magnificent day. Thank you, bless you, I love you. Next time.